Like I always say, it ain't over till it's over.
Last year, around this time, I said the year of 2019 was one of the best years in video gaming ever, and one of my all-time favorites. It took me a very long time to make the video sharing all that with you, but it was worth it in the end. I also ended up skipping making a video about my favorite video games that came out in the year 2020, because I didn't play nearly enough games that released in 2020 to justify making a top 10 list. And because, well, you know, it was the year 2020. To say that things went to hell for the whole world would be an understatement. We were in unprecedented times for gaming, for society, for humanity, for the world as a whole. For the times they are a-changing. Now another year has passed, 2021, and we've entered a new one, 2022. No telling what will happen next, but I have hope. I have faith that the best and brightest that humanity has to offer will outshine the darkest and the worst of it. But hey, that's just me. Anyways, when it comes to video games, I played more than enough games in 2021 to put together a top 10 favorites list. And this one has the potential to be my very last top 10 favorite video games of the year video. So if this is to be the very last one of these, let's go out with a bang and make it something special. Starting off with what is tradition with these videos, playing a clip that I play every year from my top 10 favorite video games of 2016 video. Last year, around this time, I said 2015 was quite frankly one of the best years for video gaming ever. Little did I know, the following year of 2016 would trump it in almost every way possible. 2016 for me has been the best year ever for video games that I've ever experienced. The amount of stunning and worthy sequels to franchises old and new, the brand new IPs, the amazing innovations, the excellent DLC and expansions. 2016 is the year in video gaming where video games showed off their peak perfection in quality and quantity of content. An absolute joy to experience firsthand. And like last year in 2015, where I said that it was one of the most difficult videos I've ever had to make because there were so many good games that came out that year, this year was no exception. If anything, it was more difficult than ever before. Having to pick only 10 of the amazing, breathtaking, revolutionary, and most importantly, incredibly enjoyable video game experiences that came out in 2016? Hell of a challenge, needless to say. Everything I said about the year 2016 in gaming can be applied to 2021 in gaming. The video games I played in 2021 were so much fun and impressed me so much that I can easily say, without a shadow of a doubt, 2021 joins the ranks of some of my favorite years in gaming ever. There were quite a few worthy sequels to beloved franchises filled to the brim with fan service, but 2021 was mostly the year of new IPs, new franchises, new experiences, new worlds to explore, new characters to fall in love with, new epic boss battles to overcome, and my word, the endless amounts of content to experience, whether that be single player, co-op, or player versus player multiplayer. Most notable of all, 2021 was the year in gaming where indie developers and AA middle market developers really gave it their all, outshining many, if not most, big budget AAA video games last year. There were so many good, great, phenomenal video games that released in 2021 that putting together this top 10 list was a struggle, an emotional endeavor, mentally exhausting. But after much debate with myself, I have concluded what are my top 10 favorite video games of the year 2021. Sort of. Not really. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. But now, after that long preamble, it's time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me once again, for listening to me share my passion for video games. In what may be the very last time I do this, these are my top 10 favorite video games that released in the year 2021. Number 10, Back 4 Blood, and Aliens Fireteam Elite. That's right, boys and girls, I'm cheating. If this is gonna be the last one of these I do, what the hell, let's break all the rules. So we're doubling up, a 2-for-1 special. I like both of these games so much that I just couldn't pick between the two, so they both make it onto the list in the same spot. Both of these games are Left 4 Dead-like horde shooters, one of my favorite video game subgenres. And both of these games fulfill the fantasy of mowing down hordes upon hordes of monstrous enemies. First up, Back 4 Blood, obviously heavily inspired by and proclaimed to be the spiritual successor to the beloved Left 4 Dead games. Back 4 Blood has you playing as cleaners, specialized immune human resistance fighters in a war to strike back at the monstrous mutant zombie threat of the Ridden. Make no mistake, this is a gameplay-first experience, all about playing in co-op and shooting lots of zombies. But what makes the game so memorable and enjoyable for me is a few things. Some nuances, intricacies, and quality-of-life additions in comparison to the rest of its subgenre. For example, the card deck building system, allowing you to dramatically customize your playstyle and individual character builds, letting you become more effective at specific weapon types, maybe become more proficient at melee. Perhaps you want to build around playing a more supportive role, more effectively healing your allies and looting more resources. The card system gives the game so much more replayability while also providing an excellent sense of progression and growth and power. But as great as all that progression and customization is, it wouldn't mean too much if the shooting in this first-person shooter wasn't solid. And it most certainly is, and then some. The weapons in this game look, sound, and feel awesome and powerful, with some of the sexiest reload animations I've ever seen. Melee combat is also surprisingly effective and viable. Alongside the much appreciated movement mechanic of being able to mantle, climb up on almost anything and everything within your environment, it allows for more vertical combat spaces and scenarios alongside more interesting level exploration. Admittedly, it's a small thing, but I really appreciate it. But my absolute favorite aspect of Back 4 Blood has got to be the zombies themselves, the Ridden. My favorite horror movie of all time is John Carpenter's The Thing, so as you can imagine, the twisted, monstrous design of the Ridden enemies fulfill my craving for alien human body horror. Top that off with their grotesque and excellent sound design and sound effects, along with dying and spectacular displays of goo and gore. To put it simply, I just really enjoy shooting things in Back 4 Blood. Also, all of the female characters in this game are total waifu material. Moving on to Aliens Fireteam Elite. I love the Aliens franchise. I love the Xenomorph as a fictional character and creature, so I'm always overjoyed to see when this big, black, beautiful bastard stars in a new game and when that game does this series justice. Aliens Fireteam Elite is the Aliens video game I've kind of really always wanted. A third-person shooter where you take control of your own customizable colonial marine, blasting away through hordes of Xenomorphs, with both classical, beloved weapons from the series and a healthy amount of brand new ones. All of them looking great, sounding great, feeling great, and all of them completely customizable. Oh, and headshots! Getting headshots on enemies in this game is so fucking satisfying, with the blood and the gore and the unique sound cue that plays. Shooting enemies in this game is just a lot of fun. But the standout aspects of this game for me have gotta be its environmental design and challenge cards. The levels, the environments in this game feel like they're ripped straight out of the movies. The lighting, the shadows, the colors, the atmosphere, just the reverence for the source material and the craftsmanship on display. I can't help but adore it. another thing I adore, the challenge card system, which creates so much more replayability, providing unique experiences where the gameplay is tweaked and adjusted with dozens of gimmicks, changes, and additions, which can make progressing through a level harder, easier, or just a wacky affair. I really enjoy Aliens Fireteam Elite. Easily one of the best Aliens games ever made. In the end, when it comes to both these games, Back 4 Blood and Aliens Fireteam Elite, they both satisfy my passion for the video game subgenre of the Left 4 Dead-like horde shooter. I had so much fun playing the both of them, and I liked them both so much that I picked the both of them for my number 10 spot on my top 10 favorite games of 2021. Number 9. Lost in Random. Easily one of the most critically underrated games of 2021. Lost in Random is bursting at the seams with charm, imagination, and character. It's an endearing display for an obvious passion for childhood dark fantasy adventures and storytelling. In Lost in Random, you play as little girl Even, who's on a quest to save her sister Odd from the evil Dark Queen. Accompanied by her magical and adorable companion Dicey, they will explore and adventure through the lands of Random. Absolutely everything about this game's aesthetic is just truly wonderful, a joy to behold. The art style, the character designs, the environments, oh, and the music. The music is so damn good. The total commitment to looking and sounding and feeling like a classical, epic, dark fantasy childhood fairy tale. Better yet, it's all accompanied with excellent characters, world building, and lore. Honestly, just experiencing and exploring and adventuring through the world of Random is worth the price of admission alone. However, the gameplay is also pretty good too. Lost in Random has one of the most unique combat systems I've ever experienced in a video game before. While it does consist of basic ranged and melee combat, what makes it so unique and engaging is the random roll of the dice and building your deck of cards. Gathering up energy crystals from damaging foes, you'll power up Dicey enough to give him a roll, and then pick from a random assortment of magical cards from your customizable deck. These cards range from an assortment of unique abilities, attacks, healing, summonable weapons, buffs to yourself, debuffs to your enemies. As you play through the game, you'll unlock more and more crazy, powerful cards, and battle more challenging combinations of enemies. With an assortment of memorable and fun boss battles to boot, Lost in Random has a surprisingly really solid combat gameplay system that's truly unique and one of a kind. I can't sing the praises of this game enough. Lost in Random is a truly wonderful little gem of a game that had me charmed from beginning to end. And that's why Lost in Random takes the number 9 spot on my top 10 favorite video games of 2021.
Welcome back, Chief. Okay, let's get out of here.
Number 8. Halo Infinite. The 6th mainline entry in the iconic Halo series. Once again, playing as the Master Chief, stuck on the mysterious Zeta Halo. The Chief, with the aid of some new allies, a stranded UNSC pilot, and a new AI companion called the Weapon, Chief must wage a one-man war against the alien faction known as the Banished, while also trying to uncover the mysteries of this Halo ring. Halo Infinite's single-player campaign, for the first time in the series, goes with an open-world design. And it's quite impressive how well the Halo formula and Halo sandbox seamlessly just works in an open-world environment, providing breathtaking vistas, memorable player-created moments, and tons of replayability. No two players going through Halo Infinite's campaign will engage in the combat scenarios in the exact same way, thanks to the large and diverse arsenal of weapons at your disposal, vehicles to drive, Spartan abilities to use, and how the surprisingly intelligent enemy AI will react to you. The first-person shooter gameplay of Halo Infinite is truly the star of the show. All of the weapons look and feel fantastic. All of your Spartan abilities, but especially the grappling hook, make you look and feel like a badass and provide so many tactical opportunities. And then there's the Banished. Oh, they're so much fun to fight and kill. The way Grunt backpacks violently explode when you shoot them. The way Brute armor pops and falls off as you shoot them. The way Elite energy shields brightly spark when destroyed. Oh, and the sound cue that plays when you get headshots. Feels so good. While I do personally prefer linear games over open world games, I cannot deny that I enjoy a good open world game. And I had a lot of fun exploring and fighting my way through Halo Infinite's open world. In addition, as someone who quite liked the storytelling in Halo 4, I'm glad they maintained that style of presentation and writing. While the story could have been better in quite a few aspects, I can't deny that I was entertained by these characters and the emotional beats resonated with me. While there's definitely room for some improvements, I can't deny that I enjoyed my time in Halo Infinite's single-player campaign. However, the biggest surprise about this game for me as a complete package was the free-to-play multiplayer. I'm not a PvP person, and I actively dislike all of the PvP multiplayers found in all the previous Halo games. So it's an immensely pleasant surprise for me that I really enjoy Halo Infinite's multiplayer. The maps are fantastic, they look great, and they're so much fun to play on. The tactics and tension of trying to memorize and control all the weapon spawn locations. The way equipment and vehicles allow players to create all these crazy, wild, and unique moments in a match. I surprisingly enjoy playing all of the game modes available, and there's a decent variety of them. Oh, and to top it all off, the feature I love the most, full-fledged bot support, being able to play against bots and set up bot matches. Oh, so good. While the PvP multiplayer of Halo Infinite does have some severe issues, including, but not limited to, an underwhelming progression system, horribly overpriced items in the store, and a lack of social features. However, despite these issues, I really enjoyed Halo Infinite. And as a foundation for a live service platform, I think it's got a bright future ahead of it. So Halo Infinite makes it to my number 8 spot on my top 10 favorite video games of 2021. Number 7. Resident Evil 8 Village. Taking place 3 years after the events of Resident Evil 7, you play once again as Ethan Winters, now a father, and whose daughter, Rose, has been kidnapped. In the search to rescue her, Ethan finds himself in a strange, isolated European village, infested with werewolves, vampires, and of course, because it's Resident Evil, zombies. I would describe Resident Evil Village as a horror-themed amusement park, and a love letter to the Resident Evil franchise as a whole. It's bursting at the seams with obvious inspirations, homages, Easter eggs, and references to various horror movies, horror games, and of course past Resident Evil titles. You have sections of the game dedicated to claustrophobic survival horror, managing your resources, solving puzzles, exploring the environment, all while being stalked by an unkillable foe. You have other sections of the game dedicated to action set pieces, with explosions and destruction. Perhaps find yourself in combat with a large group of intimidating enemies, where your precision and management of your weapons could mean life or death. You have moments in the game where the characters are obviously hamming it up and having fun, while other moments are sincere and emotional. As someone who loved Resident Evil 7 and was admittedly a bit iffy about the direction Resident Evil Village was going with its setting and premise, I must say I was pleasantly surprised and very impressed. I enjoyed my time playing Resident Evil Village from beginning to end. The graphics and visuals are stunningly beautiful. The environments, the character models, even the props are all rich in detail. The first-person combat has been made much more refined. Switching weapons, melee, shooting, and aiming are all so much smoother and responsive. Fighting and killing enemies is just as fun and intense thanks to fantastic animations. The way enemies stumble and stagger and respond to getting shot. Remarkable craftsmanship, so satisfying. And that description can also be applied to all of the weapons you get to play with. The shotguns in particular hold a special place in my heart. I also just must commend this game on its breadth of variety. Its variety of its memorable villain characters and boss battles. Its variety of set-piece moments, both action and horror. Its variety of enemy types to encounter. Variety of puzzles to solve. Resident Evil Village had me engaged and invested from beginning to end. In addition to all of this, Village puts a wonderful emphasis on replayability and bonus content, with extensive new game plus options and incentives alongside the extremely fun bonus mode, Mercenaries. Kill all the enemies, manage your time limit, and shoot for that new high score. I quite enjoyed Mercenaries mode. Lastly, of course, it simply must be said, Lady Dimitrescu is an absolute MILF. And that's why Resident Evil 8 Village takes the number 7 spot on my top 10 favorite games of 2021. Number 6. Little Nightmares 2. The first Little Nightmares was one of my favorite video games of the year 2017, and I was most certainly hoping for a sequel. Developer Tarsier Studios have proven themselves to be master craftsmen in video game development, creating visually spectacular and emotionally intense set-piece moments, awe-inspiring level and environmental designs, clever and engaging puzzles to solve, topped off with brilliantly haunting music. All of that and more was the first Little Nightmares, and its sequel, Little Nightmares 2, once again delivers on all of that and so much more. Playing as a new character, a young boy named Mono, soon after partnering up with the previous game's protagonist, the little girl, Six. The pair must work together to explore, survive, and escape this twisted world of nightmares. Little Nightmares 2 is essentially just more Little Nightmares, and that's really all I wanted. More of the same smooth, responsive controls, more of the same precise platforming, more of the same clever puzzles that make me go, oh yeah, that's how you solve that, that makes sense. And more, oh so many more, disturbing antagonists to face off against and eventually run the hell away from. The chase sequences in this game are some of the most intense, anxiety-inducing, nail-biting sequences and experiences you can have in a video game. Little Nightmares 2 has also significantly upped the horror substantially. And the first game was already a horror masterpiece, but 2? Jesus Christ, there are some truly terrifying and disturbing moments in this game. Lastly, despite having no dialogue, the story this game tells and how it develops its two main characters over the course of this dark adventure, alongside the spectacular world building and storytelling from just the visuals alone, truly a work of art. Little Nightmares 2 was easily one of the best games that released in 2021, and like its predecessor, was one of my favorite games of the year. So Little Nightmares 2 takes the number 6 spot on my top 10 favorite video games of 2021. Number 5. Solar Ash and Pray for the Gods. That's right, boys and girls, I'm cheating yet again. Another double whammy, another 2 games taking up the same spot on my list because I simply couldn't pick between the 2 of them. I love both of these games so much for similar and different reasons. The main connecting factor between these 2 games being that they are both games inspired by Shadow of the Colossus. Games all about solving the puzzle that is traversing these giant bosses while exploring vast, gorgeous open world environments and telling grand, tragic tales. Let's start with Solar Ash. With her world on the brink of destruction thanks to the wandering black hole known as the Ultra Void, young Void Runner, Rei, must explore and fight her way through the Ultra Void, uncover the mystery of what happened here and what happened to her team, while doing battle with these massive creatures known as Remnants. And just who is this mysterious being known as Echo. Solar Ash is a truly fantastic single-player adventure video game. It's got everything. A great story, with great characters, with great voice acting, addicting and immensely satisfying movement, parkour, platforming. The simple act of traversing these environments and getting better at the movement systems were such a joy to experience. Entering a new region, a new biome, and just thinking to myself in glee, ooh, how am I gonna get over there? All of this, of course, aided by the game's beautiful graphics and art style. Solar Ash is just bursting at the seams with vibrant colors. It's just a feast for the eyes. But the most awe-inspiring spectacle of all, of course, has gotta be those giant boss battles. The remnants are truly a sight to behold, and for me were an engaging and satisfying test of skill at the game, challenging me to master my speed and timing. But as much as I enjoy the graphics and gameplay, I really have to admit the story and characters really surprised me with their quality and depth. Ray is an endearing and at times relatable protagonist. All of the side characters in the cast are also great characters in their own right. And my god, don't let this game's bright colors fool you. This game is dark. Like, really fucking dark. And oh my god, the big twist reveal. You know it's coming, you know something's gonna happen, but when it does, holy shit. Moving on to Pray for the Gods. I was eagerly awaiting this game's full release out of early access for years. But as painful as the wait was, it was worth it. Pray for the Gods absolutely provided that Shadow of the Colossus inspired experience I was looking for. And then some. Playing as a lone hero sent to the edge of a dying frozen world to discover the mystery behind a never-ending winter. Arriving with only the clothes on your back, you must survive the colossal dangers that you encounter. Can you restore the balance and reclaim the land from the brink? While story is obviously not this game's focus, there is a decent amount of lore and world building for those that are interested. But obviously, the gameplay, specifically the boss battles, are the star of the show here. Epic in size and scale, intimidating in design, varied in unique gameplay mechanics and scenarios. All of it accompanied by fucking awesome, beautiful music. They're truly impressively designed and crafted, particularly because there's no one way to take down these bosses. You could be patient and just wait for an opportunity to grab onto their fur and climb up them, or you could solve a puzzle in the boss arena, temporarily stunning the boss or giving you some sort of other advantage. Creatively use your grapple hook or wind glider to climb onto the boss in a more unexpected way. Pray for the Gods boss battles are not only a loving homage to Shadow of the Colossus, but they are a meaningful evolution of its design. But as much as I was impressed by and enjoyed the boss battles in Pray for the Gods, what really surprised me and what I really took a liking to were the survival crafting mechanics. They were surprisingly addicting and satisfying. Managing my cold and hunger meters, hunting animals for food, finding campfires to keep myself warm and cook that food at, chopping down trees for wood to craft weapons and arrows, thoroughly exploring the environment to scavenge every resource I can while finding hidden collectibles and solving puzzles. Pray for the Gods always rewards you for your exploration. There is so much to do and see and discover and fight in this open world. Honestly, I was getting Valheim vibes. In addition to all that, you can explore this world in spectacular style thanks to the grapple hook and wind glider. There is so much player freedom on offer. In the end, I truly loved and had a blast playing both of these games. They satisfied my craving for open world exploration and taking on giant bosses. They are both brilliant successors and homages to the classic, iconic game that is Shadow of the Colossus. I enjoyed both these games so much, I loved them both so much that I couldn't pick between the two, so they both take the number 5 spot on my top 10 favorite games of 2021.
Please don't be Novacore, please don't be Novacore, please don't be Novacore.
It is Novacore.
Number 4. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. If you had told me almost a year ago when this game was first announced that Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be one of my favorite games of the year, I wouldn't have believed you. I enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but wasn't really a big fan or anything. On top of that, I was still pretty sour after Square Enix's Marvel's The Avengers, and the absolute train wreck that game was. So I was initially skeptical and uninterested in this game, but then it released to the public, and to my surprise, the reviews were overwhelmingly positive. So its critical reception convinced me, okay, I need to give this game a try. And I am so happy I did. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is not only one of the best games released in 2021, it's also one of the best superhero games ever made, one of the best AAA video games ever made, and just one of the best video games ever made, period. It's incredible! Playing as Star-Lord, Peter Quill, leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy consisting of Gamora, Drax, Rocket, and Groot, this team of deeply scarred, unlikely heroes must band together to get paid, pay their debts, and possibly save the universe from impending doom. I cannot praise this game's story, writing, characters, and voice acting enough. In terms of an overall narrative package, it's an immaculate masterwork. This game feels like you're experiencing an entire season of a big-budget, high-quality Guardians of the Galaxy TV show that you get to play through. Jesus Christ, what can I say about this game that isn't just myself repeating in perpetuity how every aspect of this game is perfect? The graphics, the visuals, the art style, the set pieces. It's all so beautiful, spectacular, awe-inspiring. The obsessive amount of detail in all of the character models, in the environments, in the props, in the special effects. The immense effort and artistic intent on display. Guardians of the Galaxy is easily one of the best looking games ever made. In terms of gameplay, it's a very unique third-person action game, seamlessly transitioning from third-person shooting to melee combat. But the truly engaging tactical elements and visual spectacles of combat come from your team of Guardians' various special attacks and abilities and comboing them with one another to deal massive damage to or seriously debuff enemies. It takes a while to understand and really get a hang of all of it, but once you do and you start unlocking some upgrades, this game's combat becomes a lot of fun, a unique challenge, and an awesome visual spectacle. And oh my god, the massive variety of enemy types and bosses. Hour after hour, you're always seeing and fighting something new. Like I said earlier though, the real main attraction of Guardians of the Galaxy is its story and characters. I went into this game as someone who wasn't a fan, who didn't really care for the characters of Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this game made me absolutely fall in love with this iteration of these characters. The dynamics and chemistry between all of these characters. The visible growth and development of these characters as the story progresses is so satisfying and endearing. The comedy, the jokes, it's all so well written. I was laughing my ass off throughout. However, the core message and themes of the game are actually very powerful, very heartwarming and touching and mature. This game is amazing. Damn near perfect. I love it. Guardians of the Galaxy is easily one of the best video games released in 2021 and one of my favorites, which is why it takes the number 4 spot on my top 10 favorite games of 2021. Number 3, Grime. Easily the most underrated video game of 2021 and easily one of the best video games released in 2021. Grime is a damn near perfect video game. A 2D, Souls-like, Metroidvania, action-adventure RPG. You play as the End Giver. Your goal? To destroy, absorb, and grow. Explore this horrifying alien world. Find and collect various living weapons and armor sets to customize your character and find your preferred playstyle and build. Surpass challenging gauntlets of combat, platforming, and puzzle solving. And do battle with some of the most ball-busting, well-designed boss battles in a video game. All of this alongside a hauntingly beautiful soundtrack. There's only so many ways I can say Grime is so fucking good. Think of all of the best aspects of a Souls-like game. Grime's got 'em. Think of all of the best aspects of a Metroidvania game. Grime's got 'em. Think of all of your favorite aspects of 2D melee combat games. Grime's got 'em. Think of all of the best aspects of 2D platformers. Grime's got 'em. The dark fantasy world presented in Grime is so original and intriguing. Its character designs and environmental designs, so inspired. A fascinating new take on body horror with this amalgamation of stone, bone, and flesh. This game's presentation, its visuals, its art style never fails to leave me in awe. The puzzle platforming? My god, what a challenge. What a test of skill. And so immensely satisfying when you get one of these sections down right. When you time your double jumps and dashes just right. So good. And the combat, oh my god, the combat in this game rivals that of many third-person hack-and-slash melee games. So crunchy, so weighty, so impactful. And my god, the absolutely insane amount of weapons to pick from that all have unique individual movesets and special attacks. Couple this with a huge cast of varied enemies to fight, and combat just has so much variety, flexibility, and player creativity to offer. But of course, the absorb mechanic is the true star of the show when it comes to gameplay here. Grime's version of a parry system, absorbing allows you to nullify damage, deal damage, regain health, and deflect various hazards and projectiles. If there was a debate to be had on which video game had the best parrying system, I would argue absorbing from Grime takes the crown. It's such a versatile mechanic, and it made me feel like such a badass. It was so much fun. And the boss battles, oh my god, the boss battles, they're so good! If you play Souls-like games for the boss battles, then you need to play Grime. Oh, and the music in this game, fucking perfection. Haunting, beautiful, epic. The music in Grime, you have to listen to it. I could go on for days singing the praises of this video game. Grime is truly one of the best, and that's why Grime makes it into my top 3 favorite video games of 2021.
So, what now? We keep moving.
Number 2, Outriders. While this game's initial launch release date was wholly unacceptable, with a laundry list of technical issues, once developer People Can Fly got their shit together and fixed the game up, I can now confidently say it's my second favorite video game of the year 2021 and one of my favorite video games of all time. I might even go as far to say it may be my favorite looter shooter in this video game subgenre. In this third-person RPG looter shooter, you play as the titular Outrider. In an apocalyptic end-of-the-world scenario, the survivors of humanity have left Earth, attempting to colonize an alien world called Enoch. But nothing has gone as planned, as the planet is plagued with this reality-bending storm dubbed the Anomaly. Your Outrider, altered by the Anomaly and given superhuman powers, are now on a quest to find this mysterious signal that may or may not be the last hope for humanity's survival. Outriders in many ways feels like a video game that was tailor-made for me, like a looter shooter that was tailor-made for me, with the game being designed as a linear, story-focused campaign, heavy on cutscenes, characters, world-building, combat-heavy focused gameplay containing blood, gore, dismemberment, achieved by badass, powerful guns, and even more powerful and badass superpowers and abilities. And I just adore this game's grim, dark, sci-fi aesthetic, with some of the most badass looking alien monsters I've ever seen in a video game, the legendary weapons and armor sets you get to collect in Outriders, some of the most badass, awesome looking weapons and armor I've ever seen in a video game. I love these designs so much. They're so fucking cool. While the majority of Outriders content, the meat of Outriders content, is its expansive, dark sci-fi story and combat-heavy gameplay, what I'm personally particularly fond of and appreciate is all the game's little features and details. The extensive crafting and customization systems, allowing you to personalize and tailor every piece of gear in your loadout. The The girthy progression systems that have you constantly unlocking and obtaining something new, whether that's resources, power, or cosmetics. Oh, and speaking of cosmetics, Outriders easily has the best transmog system I've ever seen and experienced in a video game. This is seriously how all video games should handle transmogrification. But in the end, however, I am a simple creature, and Outriders just contains all of the things I personally really enjoy. A dark sci-fi setting exploring alien environments, violently killing badass-looking enemies with badass-looking weapons, wearing badass-looking armor, using badass-looking destructive superpowers that make you feel like a god, all while seeing various numbers go up and down while collecting color-coded items. I just really liked and appreciated the story and characters of Outriders. I really enjoy the gameplay of Outriders. And that's why Outriders is my second favorite video game of 2021. And my number one favorite video game of the year 2021 is... Number 1. Kana, Bridge of Spirits. Kana is a beautiful masterpiece, an astonishing work of art, one of the best video games ever made. A perfect showcase of the magic video games are capable of. If you are passionate about video games, then you simply have to play Kana. It's one of those experiences that video games can provide that enriches your heart and soul. A story-driven, third-person action-adventure game set in a charming world, rich with exploration and fast-paced combat. You play as Kana, a young spirit guide, traveling to an abandoned village in search of the sacred mountain shrine. Throughout your journey, you'll find and grow a team of tiny, adorably cute spirits known as the Rot. They'll enhance your abilities in combat and create new ways to manipulate the environment and uncover the secrets of a forgotten community hidden in an overgrown forest where wandering spirits are trapped. Kana's story, despite being constructed in a way to be presentable to audiences of all ages, is so emotionally deep and mature. From beginning to end, this game is heartwarming and heart-wrenching. And truly, every aspect of this game, from its story to its characters to its graphics, visuals, art style, animations, and especially the music, just irradiates charm. This game is the perfect example of the definition of the word charming. There wasn't a single moment in my playtime with Kana where I wasn't feeling some sort of intense emotion. Happiness, joy, excitement, fear, sadness. With Kana Bridge of Spirits, developer Ember Labs have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are master craftsmen. And this is their first game they've ever made and released. While the storytelling, the heart, and the themes are perfection, the gameplay is also stellar. An absolute blast to play. The controls are so smooth and responsive. Whether that's movement, melee combat, ranged combat, dodging, jumping, platforming, controlling your Rot companion spirits for puzzle solving and combat, it all feels so seamless and so good to control. Kana's combat gameplay has this beautiful, intricate, skill-based simplicity about it, where you combo light and heavy melee attacks with your staff, while on the fly seamlessly switching to your ranged attacks with your bow and energy bombs. Throw in some bullet time slow-mo, powerful Rot abilities and attacks, a huge variety of enemies to fight that need to be or can be defeated in various ways. And you've got a recipe for exciting, engaging combat, which also looks spectacular, because obviously, this game looks absolutely bloody, gorgeous, spectacular, beautiful, amazing, stellar. Just pull out a dictionary or a thesaurus and look for good looking. Kana Bridge of Spirits is it. Its graphics, its visuals, its presentation, its art style, it's perfect. It looks perfect. An absolutely delightful treat for the eyes. The cutscenes in this game, a testament to quality animation and cinematography. And good lord, these environments, whether you're just exploring, solving puzzles, platforming across them, discovering various collectibles. The in-game world of Kana is just a joy to be in and traverse through. Oh man, the puzzles are so good. Not too complicated, but not too simple. The platforming sections are so good. They can be intense at times, providing this excellent sense of scale and verticality. Oh, and the boss battles! The boss battles are also fantastic! The visual and gameplay design, the mechanics, the boss arenas, oh, the music! The music in this game is so beautiful, so perfect. Oh man, I could quite honestly spend all day, hours upon hours, praising and gushing about Kana Bridge of Spirits and why it's so good and why I love it so much. It's a beautiful, beautiful video game. Easily one of the best games released in the year 2021. One of my new favorite video games of all time, and easily my number one favorite video game of the year 2021. Number 0, Subverse, in early access. That's right, I'm not done breaking the rules just yet. Again, if this is the last one of these I'm making, I'm sending it off with a bang. Pun intended. I based these personal top 10 favorite games of the year list videos off of how much fun I had playing a particular game, off of how much it emotionally impacted me, and how important the game was to me on a personal level. And while I obviously adore Kana Bridge of Spirits, there is no video game that has ever been or will be as important to me as Subverse. This game, its developers, the people behind this game, of course, obviously, the many exceptionally talented voice actresses and actors, have changed my life forever. It's thanks to this game I've met friends whom I consider family. I've experienced happiness and love that I will cherish for the rest of my days. I've gained new perspectives, had my mind opened, particularly to, of course, sexuality, new and different and exciting ways of creating content and art, a newfound, deeply profound appreciation for independent video game developers and voice acting in general. The game may be described as a sci-fi parody hentai game, but it's so much more than that. It's a passion project. It's an inspirational piece, a stepping stone, a proof of concept that there is a demand for high-quality adult content. Last I checked, we're all adults here with completely natural desires. Sex is beautiful, natural, and healthy, and nothing to be ashamed of. It shouldn't be frowned upon and taboo to have sex as a part of our storytelling, as a part of art. Subverse is a video game that will, no matter what, go down in history. It's made a difference, not only in the grander scheme of things when it comes to gaming, the gaming industry, the gaming community, but it's made a difference on a more intimate, personal, and subjective level when it comes to myself. And that's why the early access release of Subverse was the most important video game to me in the year 2021.